You can be doing everything right, keeping up, staying responsible, moving forward, and still feel like something inside you never fully rests. Not because life is overwhelming, not because something is clearly wrong, but because your mind has been quietly alert for a long time. Always slightly awake, always ready, always listening for what might be needed next. And most people don't notice this alertness. They just feel tired in a way rest doesn't fully fix. That quiet tension, that background readiness, is often why, without realizing it, your mind quietly craves stillness. Some part of you isn't tired of effort. It isn't tired of responsibility, movement, or even challenge. It isn't tired of showing up. It's tired of being alert. Not alert in a dramatic or obvious way. Not panicked, not constantly anxious. Just quietly awake, quietly attentive, quietly ready, always tracking what might be needed next. Always slightly ahead of the moment. Always prepared to respond, adjust, or adapt, even when nothing is wrong. And that constant, background alertness is often why, without fully realizing it, your mind quietly craves stillness. Stillness is not something most of us were taught to respect. From an early age, we were encouraged to fill time, to stay occupied, to keep moving forward, to prove our usefulness through activity. Pauses were allowed only when they had a reason. Rest was something you earned. Stillness was something you justified. So when stillness appears without explanation, it can feel unfamiliar, sometimes even uncomfortable. Not because stillness is harmful, but because it goes against what we were conditioned to expect from ourselves. Yet beneath that discomfort, there is often something else, a subtle pull, a quiet attraction, a sense that something important lives there, as if something inside you is gently asking, without urgency, without pressure, can we stop now? Not because you are weak, not because you are avoiding life, not because you are giving up, but because something inside you has been active for a very long time. Many people assume the mind craves stillness because it wants peace, but peace is not always the first thing the mind is seeking. Often, what the mind wants before peace is safety. For a long time, your mind may have learned to stay alert, to read the room, to anticipate reactions, to sense changes before they happen. Maybe not because danger exists now, but because at some point in your life, being prepared mattered. Being relaxed wasn't always possible. Being unaware wasn't always safe. Letting your guard down came with consequences. So the mind adapted. It learned to stay awake, to stay responsive, to stay one step ahead. And even when life becomes quieter, the mind doesn't immediately slow down. It stays watchful, not because it wants to, but because that pattern once kept you safe. This is why you can be sitting in a calm room with no immediate demands and still feel restless. Why silence doesn't always feel peaceful at first. Why your body might soften, but your thoughts keep moving. It's not that your mind is rejecting stillness. It's learning how to exist without constant vigilance. Stillness asks something unusual of the mind. It asks the mind to stop monitoring, to stop predicting, to stop preparing responses that may never be needed. And for a mind that has been alert for years, that request can feel unfamiliar. Sometimes it can even feel unsafe. So the mind fills the space with thoughts, with memories, with unfinished conversations, with worries that don't feel urgent but refuse to fade, not to disturb you, but to stay occupied, because once occupation meant protection. This is why people often misunderstand their relationship with stillness. They assume that if stillness feels uncomfortable, something must be wrong with them, that they are bad at relaxing, that their mind is broken, that peace should come easily. But sometimes, discomfort in stillness isn't resistance, it's decompression, like stepping out of a loud environment into a quiet one and needing time for your senses to recalibrate. The silence isn't the problem. The adjustment is. There is another reason your mind quietly craves stillness, and it is rarely talked about. Stillness is one of the few states where the mind is not being evaluated. Not by others, not by the world, not even by itself. In stillness, you are not producing. You are not responding. You are not proving anything. You are not required to perform your identity. You don't have to be competent, or emotionally regulated, or impressive, or strong. You are allowed to exist without explanation, and that absence of demand can feel deeply relieving, even if you don't consciously notice it at first. Think about how often your mind is asked to respond to messages, to expectations, to subtle emotional shifts in other people, to responsibilities that never fully turn off. Even during moments that appear calm from the outside, there is often invisible effort happening inside. Monitoring your tone, choosing the right words, managing impressions, holding parts of yourself back. That effort is quiet, but it is constant. Stillness interrupts that pattern. It does not ask you to react. It does not demand clarity. It does not require improvement. And for a mind that has been responding all day, that absence can feel like rest. This is why stillness does not always feel exciting. It does not stimulate. It does not distract. It does not offer instant rewards. But it offers something more subtle. Permission. Permission to not respond immediately. Permission to not optimize the moment. Permission to not become anything more than you already are. Interestingly, the mind often craves stillness most when you have been coping well, when you have been functioning, meeting expectations, holding yourself together quietly. From the outside, everything looks fine, but inside, the system has been running continuously, and eventually, it wants a pause. Not because it is failing, but because it has been reliable for too long. This craving for stillness rarely announces itself loudly. It usually appears in quiet ways. You might feel drawn to empty rooms, to long pauses between sounds, to late nights when the world slows down, to moments when no one needs anything from you. You may not label this as a desire for stillness. You may just feel like you want everything to stop asking something of you. That feeling is stillness. There is a common belief that stillness means emptiness. But stillness is not empty. It is spacious. And space allows things to settle. Thoughts lose urgency. Emotions soften at the edges. The mind stops leaning toward the future. Not because you force it to slow down, but because it finally has room to breathe. This is why stillness can feel emotional. Why feelings you didn't realize were present sometimes surface when things grow quiet. Stillness does not create those feelings. It reveals what was already there, hidden beneath movement and noise. And that can feel unsettling, but it can also feel honest. Your mind does not crave stillness because it wants to escape life. It craves stillness because it wants to experience life without constant interpretation, without internal narration, without defense, without bracing for what comes next. Just being here, even briefly. In a fast world, stillness can feel like falling behind. But psychologically, Stillness is often a form of integration. It is where the mind processes what it has been carrying without effort, without instruction, without analysis. This is one reason stillness is often sought at night. At night, expectations soften, performance relaxes, the world feels less watchful, the mind feels less observed, and in that space, stillness feels safer. That is why quiet videos, slow reflections, and gentle voices feel comforting then. They match the mind's natural rhythm. Stillness does not fix things. It does not answer every question. It does not remove uncertainty. But it does something gentler. It reminds your nervous system that not every moment requires readiness, that being alert is not always necessary, that rest does not have to be earned. If you have ever felt drawn to stillness without knowing why, this may be why. If you have ever wanted quiet without knowing what you are searching for, this may be why. It may not be peace you are craving. It may be relief from being on, relief from anticipation, relief from vigilance, relief from constant adjustment. And that craving is not something to judge. It is something to understand. Your mind has been attentive, careful, engaged for a long time. Stillness is how it remembers that it does not always have to be. Sometimes the mind does not want answers. It does not want insight. It does not want direction. It does not want improvement. It just wants the world to pause long enough for it to stop bracing. And maybe that is why stillness does not feel boring. It feels familiar, like a place your mind has been trying to return to without knowing how to explain it. If you are listening to this quietly, late at night, or during a calm moment, you do not need to do anything with these thoughts. You do not need to change yourself. Just notice the stillness that is already here. Even briefly, that may be enough.